Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we got some TryHackMe. I'm going to be doing the ORM injection path, which is part of the web app Pentester path. And we're just continuing on along with the journey. I don't know what room number this is, maybe like 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere around in there. We're just continuing along. It says installing Spotify. We're going to get some music going on here. Because you can't hack without music, bro. Like, I don't know how you do that. I like to learn without music. Like, I like to study without music, but when I'm like banging out commands on the keyboard, like I gotta be listening to some Carl Casey white bat audio. What's up, Mr. Joshua? Thanks for stopping in. How you doing today? Glad to see you here. Wonder if I'm streaming on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's been buggy. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. LinkedIn's just being really weird. It's always weird. LinkedIn streaming is like the worst platform. Anyways, let's go ahead and start the show. What's up, Death of Star? Thanks for stopping in. What's up, Paul? Thanks for stopping in, man. You just got Security Plus in the bag since last we talked. CCNA is up next. Nice, dude. Congrats. Is Security Plus your first cert? That was my first cert. It's a huge deal. I don't know. LinkedIn's just weird when it comes to like when you try to make an event. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I can't even see the. It says LinkedIn user. Thanks for another session. I don't know who said that, but thank you for stopping in. Because I don't know why I can't pull up the LinkedIn chat right now. And then on my restream chat, it's like it just says LinkedIn user. Thanks for stopping in. All right, so if you missed the introduction, I'm doing the ORM injection. Learn how to exploit injection vulnerabilities in an ORM-based web app. Oh, you have IT fundamentals, Net Plus, and Sec Plus. Okay, nice. All great certs. Well, I don't know about IT fundamentals. I mean, it's a good, like, if you have no nothing, I think IT fundamentals is good, which I generally recommend skipping past that, but I mean, it doesn't hurt you to have it, in my opinion. But Net Plus is definitely a nice one, and Sec Plus too. So task number 1, introduction. With advancement in cybersecurity, many developers have adopted object relational mapping, ORM, to mitigate SQL injection attacks. While ORM is intended to simplify database interactions and improve security, the threat of injection attacks is still not over. ORM injection occurs when attackers exploit vulnerabilities within ORM frameworks, allowing them to execute arbitrary queries. We will explore advanced ORM injection techniques in this room, providing an in-depth understanding of sophisticated attack vectors and effective mitigation strategies. By the end of this room, you will gain a comprehensive understanding of various ORM injection methods, which will help you identify and exploit these vulnerabilities to safeguard web applications. Learning objectives. Throughout this room, you will gain a comprehensive understanding of the following key concepts: understanding ORM, identifying injection, weak implementation, vulnerable implementation. Learning prerequisites. An understanding of the following topics is recommended before starting this room: SQL injection and OWASP Top 10. Let's begin. Alright, so I definitely meet the prereqs here. I'm ready to start the room. Such a satisfying noise. I'll never get over it. That should be my text tone, like when I someone texts me. I actually have my phone on silent all the time, so I guess it wouldn't matter. But I'll be honest with you guys. I don't even really know what ORM injection is, to be frank with you. Any web app pen testing thing that I've ever done, any course, any certification, doesn't cover ORM injection at all. Like the OSWA doesn't cover ORM injection. The PWPA from TCM Security doesn't cover ORM injection. OSCP doesn't cover ORM injection. I got 40% through the Certified Bug Bounty Hunter, which has been rebranded to the Certified Web Exploitation Specialist from Hack the Box. I got through 40% of the old version of that. I know it's updated, so I'm probably less than 40% now. I didn't see that part in like the first half of that course. Maybe it covers it later, but this is a new topic for me. Is basically what I'm trying to say. What's up, my mom, Patel? I'm doing ORM injection on TryHackMe. Yeah, guys, sorry about that. I had to mute my mic and answer a phone call. Pretty important phone call. My dad's actually in the hospital right now, so my mom was calling me to give me an update on him. So I had to take that call. Thank you for your understanding. He's doing good. He just had a surgery, so all is well with him. So, but I had to take that phone call just in case it wasn't all good. So all is good. Sorry for the minute and a half wait there. I know I didn't even tell you guys I was taking a phone call. It was that important. So thank you for your understanding. All right, moving on. Task number 2. Also, Death Bestower. I think I already welcomed you to the stream. I did. Thank you for being here. He's always here. Death Bestowers are like the real MVP. Understanding ORM. What is ORM? ORM is a programming technique that facilitates data conversations between incompatible systems using object-oriented programming languages. It allows developers to interact with a database using the programming language native syntax, making data manipulation more intuitive and reducing the need for extensive SQL queries. ORM is particularly beneficial when complex data interactions are required, as it simplifies, it's a hard word to say for some reason, databases access and promotes code reusability. So we got a little chart here. We got ORM in the middle. It sends info to SQL statement. SQL statement sends stuff back to the ORM and sends stuff to the PHP code. So basically it acts as a middleman between the web app and the database, is what I'm getting at. if I had to summarize this chart here. Purpose. ORM serves as a bridge between the object-oriented program model and the relational database model. The primary purpose of an ORM is to abstract the database layer, allowing developers to work with objects rather than tables and rows. This abstraction layer helps in reducing boilerplate code. ORM reduces the need for repetitive code by automatically generating SQL queries based on object operations. Increasing productivity. Developers can focus on the business logic without worrying about database interactions. Ensuring consistency. ORM framework consistently handles database operations, reducing the risk of errors. Enhancing maintainability. Changes to the database schema are easier to manage as they can be reflected in the object model without extensive code notifications. Commonly used ORM frameworks. Several ORM frameworks are widely used in the development community, each catering to different programming languages and environments. Here are a few examples. Doctrine, PHP. Doctrine is a powerful and flexible ORM framework for PHP. It is particularly popular with the Symfony framework, but can be used independently. Doctrine provides a comprehensive set of tools for database interactions, including a query builder, schema management, and object-oriented query language. Its ability to map complex object structures to database schemas makes it a favorite among PHP developers. Hibernate, Java. Hibernate is a robust, mature ORM framework for Java applications. Why did I say it like that? Applications, Java. It simplifies the mapping of Java classes to database tables and provides powerful data retrieval and manipulation capabilities through the Hibernate query language. I've never even heard of that. HQL. Hibernate supports various database management systems and is known for its performance optimization features such as caching and lazy loading. What the heck is lazy loading, bro? Let's ask Echo. Yeah, I want to ask Echo about lazy loading. What's lazy loading? Lazy loading is a design pattern used in programming and databases to postpone the loading of an object or resource until it is actually needed. In the context of Hibernate, which is a Java-based ORM object relational mapping framework, lazy loading helps improve performance by delaying the retrieval of associated data until it's explicitly accessed. This can reduce the amount of data loaded into memory, initially optimizing resource usage and decreasing loading times. For example, if an entity has one-to-many relationship, the related entities will not be fetched from the database until they are specifically requested. This is particularly useful when dealing with large datasets or complex object graphs, as it minimizes unnecessary data retrieval and processing, thereby enhancing application efficiency. However, developers must be cautious, as a proper use of lazy loading can lead to issues like N+1 problem, select problem, which can counteract the performance and benefits if not managed correctly. Oh, okay. My kid needed some attention. Alright, let's close this. Switch to floating. Can I just this? There we go. Lazy loading. Okay. SQL Alchemy. That sounds pretty cool, by the way. That sounds, yeah. Cool name. Python. SQL Alchemy is a versatile and powerful ORM for Python. It offers a SQL toolkit and an ORM system that allows developers to use raw SQL when needed while still providing the benefits of ORM. SQL Alchemy's flexibility and modular architecture makes it suitable for a wide range of applications, from small scripts to large-scale enterprise systems. Entity Framework, C#. Entity Framework in Microsoft ORM's framework for .NET applications. It enables developers to work with relational data using domain-specific objects, eliminating the need for most data access code that developers typically need to write. Entity Framework supports a variety of database providers and interacts seamlessly with other .NET technologies. Active Record, Ruby on Rails. Active Record is a default ORM for the Ruby on Rails application. It follows the Active Record design pattern, which means that each table is a database in a database corresponds to a class, and each row in a table corresponds to an instance of that class. Active Record simplifies database interactions by providing a rich set of methods for querying and manipulating data. What is the default ORM for Ruby on Rails? Well, that's Active Record. We just read that, so I'm just going to copy this, paste it there, submit. Yes! Which of the following is not a feature of ORM? Reducing boilerplate code, increasing productivity, increase attack surface due to direct interface with the database, ensuring consistency. I'm going to go with C. It does not increase the attack surface. The whole point is to decrease the attack surface, actually. Yes! Gosh, we're leveling up, dude, every day! Every day we level up in here! God, I love it. I was thinking about OSCP, but it's too costly in India. I can't really afford it. That's a common problem with people, especially people who are not in the United States or in a not so wealthy country. It's worth it though. I mean, if you can pinch your pennies and get it, totally worth it, because especially if it's gonna help you land a job, because like you're gonna be able to land a six-figure job. At least in the United States, you'll be able to land a six-figure job. But I mean, the return on investment is incredibly high. It's totally worth it. What should you do? Man, I don't know what the economy looks like in India, man. I don't know how strong your currency is compared to the US dollar. I don't know what your average income is over there. I don't know the cost of living over there. But in general, what I would advise for anybody who wants to OSCP, I would accumulate the money. I would say by any means necessary, but not criminally. Do not break the law to accumulate the money. By any means necessary that's legal. So whatever you got to do. If you got to work fast food, if you got to drive Uber, if you got to do DoorDash, if you got to mow people's lawns, if you got to power wash people's sidewalks, people's houses, if you got to detail people's cars, if you gotta wash people's cars, whatever you gotta do, whatever you have to do, whatever it takes, save the money up. It's absolutely worth it. I paid out of pocket for my OSCP. It was a huge steep price, but it was totally worth it, because I mean, now I make over 6 figures as a pen tester, and the money I spent on my offsite training, which was $10,000, by the way. I bought the over $10,000, like almost like close to $11,000, and it was worth it 100%. It actually cost me more than that, because I sold a bunch of cryptocurrency in order to pay for it. That's how I funded it, was through cryptocurrency, because I made some early investments in the crypto. If I wouldn't have paid for the offsite training, that crypto would have been worth way more. But I mean, like I said, I got a 6-figure job, and that $11,000 paid for itself in a couple of months of paychecks. So that's my advice. Like I said, I don't know the economy in other places, but where there's a will, there's a way. You got to make more money, and you got to save more money, so don't buy dumb stuff. You know what I mean? Like, people will go out and they'll pay $800 a month for a car that they don't need, and they will complain about not having $1,700 when it's equal. Like, $1,700 for OSCP is equal to 2 car payments nowadays in the United States, which is crazy. And you're probably thinking like, oh, guys, I need my car. I gotta get to my job. It's like, bro, you don't need to spend 700, 800, 900 bucks on a car a month. I drove. My car's worth like 2,300 bucks. 3,300 bucks. I paid 4,500 bucks for it cash. It looks like a piece of crap, but it runs good. The personal development is worth more than any financial value. Yeah, exactly. That's what. It's the best investment you can make. You can't investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. It's better than any stock market trade or any cryptocurrency trade you can make. Should I study for it and doesn't attempt the exam, or may the attempt in the future? When can I afford it? When I can afford it, I'm really confused. I don't understand what you're asking. Like, definitely study for it and then take the exam. Yeah, exactly. HR doesn't know about TryHackMe and Hack the Box based certs. That's why I recommend OCP. Actually, I touched on this. I answered this exact question on the Hackers Cash podcast, which is dropping tomorrow. If you're watching this live, it's dropping tomorrow, and I go in depth on that. But I think the OCP is still the cert to get, even though a lot of people are really liking the Hack the Box and TryHackMe certs. All right, moving on to task 3. How ORM works: mapping between objects in code and database tables. ORM is a technique that simplifies data interaction in a application by mapping objects in code to database tables. In PHP, this process involves defining classes that represent database tables and their relationships. Each class properly corresponds to a column in the table, and each class instance represents a row. For instance, using Laravel's Eloquent, is that how you say that? Eloquent? ORM. You might define a module class like this. Dude, I don't know if this is a bad habit, but I generally skip past code. Like I don't really get excited about code, bro. I really don't. I'm like, I can see what's going on here. Like, we're defining the user's name, email, and password, but it's like the exact syntax. Like, I'm not really like crazy into. In this example, the user class maps to the user table in the database and properties corresponding to columns. Eloquent ORM handles the translation between these object representations and underlying SQL queries, allowing developers to manipulate database records using object-oriented syntax. Common ORM operations: create, read, update, delete. ORM framework streamlines common database operations, often referred to as CRUD operations. Creating new records in the database involves instantiating a new model object, setting its properties, and saving it to the database, like so. Let me scroll back up. This code creates a new user and saves it to the database. The save method prepares the entity for insertion and executes a SQL insert statement to add the new record to the users table. The bcrypt function is used to securely hash password before saving it. Reading records from the database involves retrieving data using various Eloquent models. And there's the code for that. This code demonstrates different ways to retrieve records from the database. The function find1 retrieves the user with the ID 1 by executing a SQL statement. The function all retrieves all users from executing a select asterisk, which means select everything from users. SQL statement. This clause where email admin equals @email.com get retrieves users from the specified email by executing a select everything from users where email equals admin equals email equals admin at example.com. There we go. SQL statement. Similar to the create and read operations, the object and delete functions follow a straightforward approach using Laravel's eloquent ORM. For updates, you retrieve the existing record model, its properties, and save the changes. For deletions, you retrieve the record and call the delete method to remove it from the database. Eloquent handles the preparation and execution of the corresponding SQL statements, making database operations simple and intuitive. Comparing SQL injection and ORM injection. SQL and ORM injection are both techniques used to exploit vulnerabilities in database interactions, but they target different levels of the stack. SQL injection. Target raw SQL queries, allowing attackers to manipulate SQL statements directly. This is typically achieved by injecting malicious input into query strings. The injection part of the following query or 1 equals 1 always evaluates a true, allowing attackers to bypass authentication. Select everything from user where username equals admin or 1 equals 1. ORM injection targets the ORM framework, exploiting how to construct queries from the object operations. Attackers manipulate the ORM's method and promotes the properties to influence the resulting SQL queries. User repository find by user name admin equals 1 equals 1. Admin or 1 equals 1. In the above code, the injection part admin or 1 equals 1 always evaluates a true. Key difference between exploitation techniques: aspect, SQL injection, ORM injection. Level 1 injection, so SQL injection targets raw SQL queries directly. ORM injection targets the ORM framework's query construction. SQL injection more straightforward as it manipulates raw SQL, whereas ORM injection requires understanding of ORM internals and methods. SQL injection is easier to detect with traditional WAFs and query logs. ORM injection is harder to detect as payloads are within ORM methods. SQL injection used to prepare statements for parameterized queries, input validation. So that's how you mitigate it. To mitigate ORM injection, proper ORM configuration, application level input validation, ORM features enforcing query safety. Configuring the environment. Since we're using a Laravel in this project, we will briefly explain how to configure Eloquent ORM Laravel based. Eloquent ORM is a default ORM included with Laravel, which provides a beautiful, simple active record implementation for working with your database. First, we need to install Laravel using Composer. Open your terminal to run the command composer create project -- refer this Laravel/Laravel THN project, where THN project is the name of your project, and you don't have to practice these steps in this room. This is just to help you understand how the ORM facilitates. Configure database credentials. Next, we need to configure the database credentials. Laravel uses the .env file to store environment variables, including database credentials. Open the .env file to root your Laravel project and update the following lines in the database details. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. Setting up migrations. Migrations are like version control for your database, allowing you to easily modify and share the database schema. Laravel's migration system is an essential part of the framework and simplifies the management of database changes. Create a migration. To create a migration, we can use the artisan command line tool that comes with Laravel. You can run the command php artisan make migration system create users table -- create user to generate a migration for the users table. This command generates a migration file in the database / mitigations directory. The mitigation file contains methods to define the structure of the users table. And then there's a code for that. By the way, I see you guys with questions. I'm going to answer them once I'm done, when I get to the bottom of this task here. In the object code, the up method defines the structure of the users table. It includes columns for ID, name, email, passwords, and timestamp. Conversely, the down method drops the users table and the migration is rolled back. After defining the migration, run the command php artisan migrate to apply the migration and create the users table in the database. This command will execute the up method in the migration file and create the users table with the specified columns in your database. In the context of ORM, migrations simplify the process of mapping databases tables to application models. They ensure developers to focus on writing clean, maintainable code while ensuring the underlying database schema supports the application's data requirements. However, from a red team perspective, improperly configured migrations and weak implementations can lead to vulnerabilities like ORM injection. Hackers often exploit these weaknesses to manipulate database queries and gain unauthorized access to sensitive data. Therefore, it is crucial to use migrations effectively to enforce strong, secure database schema designs and ensure the robust ORM configurations to prevent such security flaws. Alright, first question, OffSec versus... Let me just pull up the chat actually, so you guys can just see what I'm seeing here. There we go. I guess my chat froze. Oh no, never mind. No, this is it. It's just backwards on this screen compared to the other screen that I have. So, OffSec versus GX cert value-wise, I don't like the GX certs in terms of value because they're like $10,000. It's like $950 last time I checked to take the exam, which is, in my opinion, fairly reasonable. But the training is always like $9,000. So these certs are like 10 grand, and you have to do their training in order to pass. Like, they got some weird quirks in the exam, and you most likely have to do their training to pass the exam. And I'm speaking from experience because I actually took the GAC G-Pen. I guess I'd have to say GAC G-Pen, which is the GAC pen tester, and I almost passed it without studying. I got within a few percent, but I didn't pass it. Had I studied for it and did their course material, I would have passed. So I don't like it. I don't like GX in terms of value because they're just so expensive. I think OffSec is more respected, and OffSec is also on more job postings. Now, don't get me wrong, GAC is still respected, and GAC is, when I was going through my job search a year and a half ago, GAC was the number 3 pen testing cert, CGHB number 2, but OCP was still number 1. So why would you pay 10 grand for the number 3 cert when you can pay $1,700 for the number 1? So I like OffSec here. Nothing wrong with GAC. You can get your employer to pay for it, absolutely do it, but I don't have any GX certs, and there's a reason for it, because they're expensive. They don't, and I would get them if they were like elite level, like, yep, this is definitely going to accelerate your career. I would absolutely do it. I just don't think the return on investment is there, nowhere near as high as an OffSec cert. So I like OffSec here. Is there a blue team equivalent certification that you would say is a must-have in the same way that OSCP is worth for red teaming? Well, OSCP is a pen testing cert, not a red teaming cert. There is a difference between pen testing and red teaming, FYI. But as far as a blue team equivalent, honestly, it's not as must-have, but there are blue team equivalents to the OSCP. Like, OffSec has a blue team certification, and it might not be the number 1 most in-demand blue team certification, but I would say the blue team certs that are must-have, I think the CISSP is a must-have. if you're going to be a blue teamer. It's the #1 most in-demand certification for blue team roles. Now you have to have 5 years of experience to get a CISSP, or 4 years of experience plus a degree or some other certification. That's what I had. Since I had other certifications, I was able to get the CISSP at my 4.5-year mark. So I would say the CISSP is a must-have for blue teamers. It's not a must-have. There's no such thing as a must-have, but it greatly increases your chances. And then I would say if you want to truly stick out, you need to get those hands-on certs, whether that's from OffSec, Hack the Box, TryHackMe, or TCM Security. They all have hands-on blue team certs, just like they do have hands-on pentesting certs. So depending on your blue team role, I do have roadmaps for all of these roles: security engineer, SOC analyst. But I would get your network plus, your security plus, then your CISA plus, and then I would move into the CISSP as soon as you get 4 years of experience, assuming you have another certification to knock out the 5th year of experience, and then get those hands-on certs, whether that's from OffSec, Hack the Box, TryHackMe, or TCM Security. Get one or multiple of them. And then when your CISA plus is about to expire, consider the Security X. That would be the roadmap as far as certs go. String delay check. Interesting. Wonder how much delay you got. Let me know. How much are you able to retain from these labs? Just curious. That's a good question, because honestly, I don't retain like a ton from the labs. The thing is with these TryHackMe rooms, this is what I use TryHackMe for. To me, TryHackMe is a way to introduce a concept to me. So right now, ORM injection, I've never seen it before. This is an introduction. This isn't a deep dive for me. And I'm only going to go into a deep dive in 1 or 2 situations. If I see it in the real world, I'm like, okay, this is an ORM. Let me do a deep dive, and I will go deeper on it if I see it in the real world. I haven't really come across it in the real world, at least I don't think. Or if it's on like a certification exam that I want to get. And that's why I like certs, because certs force you to dive deep on these topics. Whereas like a TryHackMe, it's like, yeah, you can do like 400 TryHack runs, but you can get through it without retaining anything. That's why certifications are nice, because it proves that you did retain the information. Not to employers, but also to yourself. Certifications help with your imposter syndrome, because it proves that you retain the information that you learned, or at least 70 to 80% on, depending on the cert. Most certs require 70 to 80% to pass. I have to go through them at least twice just to retain half. Yeah, so that's the thing. So I don't get too hung up on retaining everything. I just take a couple key takeaways, log in my brain, and I know that ORM injection is going to be a thing. So it's just, like I said, introduction. Same thing with reading books. Like, I'll read a book, and if I can get 1 or 2 takeaways, that's a win. And retainment for me is when I see it multiple times, then you start retaining it really easily. And like I said, for me to really dive deep on it, I have to either A, see it in the real world, or B, it needs to be on a certification exam that I want. Thank you. I'm finishing up SOC level 1 from TryHackMe, so trying to figure out next steps. Definitely going to check out the roadmaps. Yeah, I got one for SOC analyst. I have one for cybersecurity engineer, and I have one for general cybersecurity, which is like starting from nothing. And then I have 2 pentester ones. I got a general pentester, and then I also have a web app pentester. SOC level 1 from TryHackMe is nice. I think it's a pretty good cert to get started in. I have it. I failed it my first time too, but I didn't study for it, so that's kind of what happens if you don't study for stuff. OSCP and any cost 181.62 thousand rupees. I wouldn't make it anywhere without studying. Well, if you study a lot, then eventually you will be able to get to the point where, like, yeah, you can pass like the lower level / mid-level certifications without studying. Like, and even advanced, like I passed Security X without studying, because I had 6 other CompTIA certifications under my belt and like 5 other certifications, maybe 6. Yeah, and I was able to pass Security X, which is considered the hardest cert in the CompTIA world, without studying. But only because I studied my butt off for all those other certs. That's why I like certs, because certs make me, it forces me to retain the information. Because I know I'm going to get tested on it. Like, TryHackMe room, like, I'm not, like I said, this is just an introduction for me. For me, it doesn't, like, I'm less likely to retain this because I know I'm not going to get tested on this later. He said cert farmer. Bro, I'm not a cert farmer. I'm a cert hunter. I go out and slay, bro. I don't grow in my backyard. Answer the question below. What is the method used in our larval code snippet to define the structure of the users table? Is it create? What is the method used for a larval code snippet to define the structure of the users table? It's somewhere up here. Oh, it's just the user class. Oh, okay. User? Dang, dude. Oh! That one hurt my soul, bro. I never had the error sound effect play on me yet, bro. Man, that stung. Jeez, bro. I feel like I just got shot in the heart. Jeez. See how I'm on. I visualize Kaiser looking like Craven the Hunter. I don't know who Craven is. Is Craven the Hunter cool? Alright, well, let's figure out, we gotta figure out what method this was. To define the structure of the user table. Define the structure of the user table? Yes, bro? Oh, cool. Cool, yes, I'm cool. Dude, that's what I want. I'm gonna hang that on my wall. That's more important than any cert. But Death Bestower calling me cool. Dude, I don't know which, is it class? No. I feel like the best guess is read, but that just doesn't seem right. To define it? This is defining a model class. Class user extend models. Is it use? Is it name? I don't think it's name. Which method used in our larval code snippet to define the structure of the user table? It's a 4-letter thing. There's only one other word that's 4 letters. It's name. I don't understand this. There's no other 4-letter words in this thing. It might be read. Huh. Define the users. It's not user. Man, dude, I don't know what the heck this is. I can't even get a hit on this, bro. Like, why is this so hard? I feel like this shouldn't be hard. Crud? Is it crud? I don't know what it's looking for here. It's up. What is the method used in the larval code snippet to define the structure of the user table? I just feel like I was in the wrong space this whole time. I thought it was defining it up here. What is the file name usually used to store database credentials in Larva? .env. Greetings from Colombia. Where's the recording? I'm in Ohio. The recording is in cyberspace on the internet, Potentially on AWS US East 1, but I don't really know. Task 4, identifying ORM injection. Oh my gosh. I need to collapse that. Identifying ORM injection vulnerabilities involves examining how user inputs are handled within ORM queries. These vulnerabilities typically arise when user inputs are directly embedded into ORM query methods without proper sanitization or validation. Indicators of potential ORM injection issues include the use of dynamic queries that concatenate user inputs, raw query execution methods, and insufficient use of parameterized queries. What's up, Finero? Thanks for stopping in. Just came from your Flipper Zero tutorial. Thank you. Helps so much. Nice. What Flipper Zero tutorial? I have multiple ones. Is it the 9 uses that you should know? If I had to take a guess, it'd be that one, because that's my most watched video. But I'm glad I helped you out. And thanks for stopping in. Connecting to the machine. You can start the virtual machine by clicking the Start Machine button attached to this task. I already did that. Actually, I should probably renew it. No, it expires in 52 minutes. We're good. You may access the VM. Okay. It is US East 1, dude. Look at that. I knew it. You can access the VM by visiting the link https://10 201.11.13.reverse-proxy US East 1 TryHackMe. Later in the room, we'll use a vulnerable application to practically perform the exercise and familiarize ourselves with various attack vectors. 9 uses for Flipper Zero on ethical hacking. Nice. Yeah, that's my most watched video. That one, people like that one. Please watch 3 to 4 minutes. Please wait 3 to 4 minutes after the system boots up to completely let the auto script run successfully. Alright, it's been running way longer than that. I turned it on way before the stream even started. We've been streaming for 53 minutes already. Holy moly. Techniques for testing ORM injection. I guess time flies when you're having fun, huh? Manual code review. A thorough source code inspection can reveal raw query methods such as where raw and larval that incorporate user inputs directly. Look for concatenated strings or unescaped inputs in ORM methods, which can indicate injection points. Automated scanning. Use security scanning tools that are designed to detect ORM injection vulnerabilities. These tools analyze the code base to identify patterns that could lead to injection, such as dynamic query construction or improper input handling. Input validation testing. Perform manual testing by injecting payloads into the application and inputs to see if they affect the underlying ORM query. For example, injecting SQL control characters or keywords to determine if they alter the execution of the query. Error-based testing. Enter deliberately incorrect or malformed data to trigger errors. Detailed error messages can provide insights into the structure of the underlying queries and indicate potential vulnerabilities. Frameworks in ORM testing. So we got all our frameworks here, and then we got our libraries, and we got our common vulnerable methods. I'm not gonna read all of them. The table above highlights various web development frameworks and their associated ORM libraries, detailing common methods that are prone to vulnerabilities. For example, in larval, using where raw or db raw with user inputs can lead to ORM injection, but this can be prevented by using parameterized queries with the where method. Similarly, in Django, methods like extra and raw can introduce vulnerabilities if not handled correctly, which, while using the filter method with parameterized queries, ensures safer database interactions. Yo, what's up, Vinny? How you doing, man? Thanks for stopping in, bro. Oh man, gets me every time. You will not see it in this day. Exclamation point, Kratos. Dude, that's a deep cut, Vinny. Most of the people in the chat don't even know what that even is, bro. But I never forgot. Dude, how you been, bro? Understanding these common pitfalls and adopting secure coding practices is crucial for maintaining the security of web applications. Exploring the target application. Now that we know the identity ORM injection vulnerabilities, let's visit the site at here, and then you'll see the site prompts you for input to determine which framework is being used. We can employ various techniques such as inspecting cookies, viewing the source code, and analyzing HTTP headers. Techniques to identifying the framework. Verifying cookies. Examine the cookie set by the application. Frameworks often use unique naming conventions or formats for their session cookies, which can provide clues about the underlying technology. Reviewing source code. Look to the HTML source code for comments, meta tags, and any embedded scripts that might reveal framework-specific signatures. However, this method may only sometimes be conclusive. Analyzing HTTP headers. HTTP headers can sometimes contain information about the server and framework. Tools like Burp Suite or browser developer tools can be used to inspect these headers. URL structure. The structure of the URLs can give hints about the framework. For instance, certain routing patterns are unique to specific frameworks. Login and error pages, authentication pages, and error messages can sometimes reveal the framework. Some frameworks have distinctive error pages or login from structures. Now that we've identified the application uses Laravel by inspecting the cookies, we can dig deeper by supplying malicious input to further explore its behavior. Specifically, we'll input one and then a single quote to see how the application handles the data and confirm the ORM use. When we visit the site at here, we will be prompted to provide input. We enter one single quote into email vulnerable field, input field, and submit the form to determine how the application processes this input. This particular input is designed to disrupt the query structure and reveal any underlying issues and how the application constructs its queries. Upon submitting this input, we need to closely observe the application response. If the application returns an error message, it can provide valuable insights in the query construction process. For instance, an error message such as SQL state 42000 syntax error or access violation indicates that the input has been improperly handled and concatenated into the SQL query, resulting in a syntax error. The output shows that it uses Laravel's eloquent ORM as the error message, and query patterns are characteristics of Eloquent's query builder. For red teamers, identifying the ORM injection vulnerabilities is crucial to assessing an application's security posture. ORM injection can be exploited if users' inputs are not properly sanitized and validated, leading to unauthorized access or manipulation of database queries. Red teamers can uncover these vulnerabilities by employing techniques such as manual code review, automated scanning, and rigorous input validation testing. Using secure coding practices like prioritized queries and robust input validation is essential to mitigating the risks associated with ORM injection. Regular code reviews and the use of security tools can help developers identify and fix these issues. Jeez, this room's taking forever. What is the path in the document root variable? Alright, let's pull up our Kali Linux box here. And I'm going to open up TryHackMe on here as well. So I need to go here. Alright, see you, Death Bestower. Thanks for hanging out, man. You have a splendid night, and I will catch you on the next one, man. So I need to, so spring, it uses hibernate, so I can answer this question here. Sorry, I accidentally read this in my head. I'm answering this question right here. What is the ORM library for the spring framework? This one mentioned on the task. I do believe it's hibernate. I thought that was an easier question to answer than this first one, so I skipped the first one. Oh man, this is why I don't answer questions on the VM, because it sounds all jacked. So now we know not to do that again. All I wanted to do was just come into here and so what is the path in the document root variable? Let's click the hint here. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the hint there. I thought it was like frozen. So if you hit hint here, wonder if I could get the sound to play again if I did this. So this is hibernate. Nice. Let's hit the hint on this one. Check the environment and detail section in the error message response. So I think we just need to kind of just do what they're telling us to do up here. Oh, okay, got it. So we just need to induce an error here. Makes sense to me. So if we just do like one and single quote and search, we should get some kind of error. Alright. And we need to find the root. Ah, okay. It's // vendor larval framework. Oops. There we go. It's clearly a Windows machine, so it's going to be C:/. It's got 5 slashes in it, so that's what we're looking for. This is it right here. / vendors. So we just need to find. Oh, the document root. This is it right here. Perfect. That should be it. Boom, boy, let's go. Once you have reviewed the cookies to identify the ORM, what is the cookie's name that is responsible for maintaining the session of the attached application? Well, that should be easy to get. Let's just do a F12 on this. And we should be able to just go to storage. Cookies. Oh, there's a lot of cookies in here. Let's make this larger. This is probably hard for you guys to see, but the cookie that's in charge of the session, well, it's got to be just a few different sessions. So here's the larval session. Is that what it's asking for? Is it larval underscore session? Let's go back to the question. What is the cookie's name that is responsible for maintaining the session in the attached application? Hey guys, look, I got a kitty. Look, this is my son. We gotta go full screen. Oh, he's a little camera shy. Little camera shy. I was gonna go full screen. I'll just show off my pride and joy. Once you read the cookies, what is the cookie's name that's responsible for maintaining the session in the attached application? You'd think there's a lot of session. There's larval session. There is HJ session. If I had to take a guess, it would be larval session. That would be my guess. And that's what I'm gonna guess. Yes! What a good guess. I mean, there's a few different sessions in there, but that one just made the most sense to me. Just based off of what we've been doing so far. Task 5, ORM injection, weak implementation. In this task, we will explore how an attacker can exploit ORM vulnerabilities when the ORM is weakly implemented. That seems weird. Is that even English, bro? Shouldn't it be like implemented weekly? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. To start, revisit the website. Okay, we're already there. We have 2 input fields. Okay, we've already done the one single quote. Let's take a closer look at the secure code. The source code, secure code. Source code used by the developer. Dude, let's take a look. What is this wording? Let's take a closer look at the source code used by the developer. Let's take a closer look at the source code used by the developer for the email vulnerable input field. I swear TryHackMe doesn't read like after they type. This is one thing I don't like about TryHackMe. There's all kinds of like weird stuff when it terms of like the way they word stuff. And they use like the English. And they like have different spellings, which is fine because I understand it's a UK company, but I mean that's just gross. I mean they literally wrote this thing twice. What this function does, the search blind vulnerable function is designed to retrieve user records based on the email parameter provided by the user. Here's a detailed breakdown of the function. Retrieve input. The function captures the email parameter from the HTTP request. This is done using the input method of the request object. Construct query. The function then constructs a raw SQL using Laravel's where raw method, where directly incorporated the email value into the SQL statement. Execute query. This query is executed, storing the result in the user variable. Return view. Finally, the function returns a view. If the user array is not empty, it passes the user data to the view. Otherwise, it passes a user not found method. The critical issue in this function lies in the direct use of the where raw with user input. This method of query construction is vulnerable to injection attacks because it does not sanitize the input. An attacker can exploit the vulnerability by manipulating the email parameter. If the attacker inputs one single quote or 1 equals 1. The resulting SQL query becomes select everything from users where email equals 1 or 1 equals 1. This query will always return all user records because the condition 1 equals 1 is perpetually true. I don't even know what this image means. Detailed exploitation. Input malicious value. The attacker visits the input field on the website and enters a crafted input such as 1 equals 1 or 1 equals 1. Query construction. The search blind vulnerable function receives this input and constructs the following query using where raw. Users equals user where raw, email equals 1 or 1 equals 1, get. This raw query construction directly inserts the malicious input into the SQL query. Query execution. Laravel's eloquent ORM translates this into the SQL statement. Select everything from users where email equals 1 or 1 equals 1. Result. Since 1 equals 1 is always true, the query returns all records in the user table. The attacker now has access to potentially sensitive information about all users in the database as shown below. Nice. Implementing secure ORM queries. Let's look at a secure version of the query function to demonstrate how secure implementation can protect against ORM injection vulnerabilities. By using parameterized queries, we can ensure that users' inputs are properly sanitized, significantly reducing the risk of injection attacks. Here's a secure implementation of the function via the email secure input field. Breakdown of secure implementation. Retrieving input. The function captures the email parameter from the HTTP request using the input method of the request object. This is the same as a vulnerable version. Constructing the query securely. Instead of using where raw, the secure version of uses Eloquent's where method. This method automatically escapes the input, thus preventing SQL injection. The where method constructs parameterized query between the scenes, ensuring that the user input is not directly included in the SQL statement. Executing the query. The query is executed and the result is stored in the user's variable. Because the query is parameterized, the input is sanitized, which means it cannot break the SQL query structure. Returning the view. Finally, the function returns a view. If the user's array contains data, it passes the user data to view, otherwise it shows an error message. This logic ensures that only valid data is processed and displayed. Now try using the same malicious payload 1 or 1 equals 1 with the secure implementation. Visit the website and enter the payload in the secure email field. When you submit this input, you will notice that the application does not break or return all user data. Instead, it behaves as expected, either finding no user with the email or returning the appropriate user data if invalid email is provided as shown below. User not found, flag value. We get a flag for not finding a user. Interesting. Why this is secure? Parameterized queries. Parameterized, man, I feel like they've talked about parameterized queries 20 times already. How many times we gotta talk about it? Parameterized queries ensures that the input values are treated as data only, not executable code. This prevents any injected SQL from being executed, which we already know that because we've already said it like 20 times. Automatic escaping. Eloquent automatically escapes the input values, negating any special characters that could be used for SQL injection. Consistent query logic. By using Eloquent methods like where, the query logic remains consistent and clear, making it easier to maintain an audit for security. The use of where raw is the function search blind vulnerable demonstrates a weak implementation of ORM, making the application highly susceptible to injection attacks. By understanding how user inputs are directly incorporated into SQL queries, attackers can craft inputs to manipulate the query logic. This highlights the importance of using parameterized queries and proper input validation to secure web applications using such exploits. Alright, so we just got to get these questions done. So all we have to do really is just do this one single quote or 1 = 1, and we should get that information. So I'm just going to copy this here, and then we're going to go back to my kind of links VM. We're going to close out of that, go back, put that here, hit search. So there's John's email, so we'll just copy this, scroll back down, can I have mod powers that ban this chat above? What's up, Agent 57? You know, the bots never really bothered me. It is annoying, but like not bad enough for me to get a mod. It says cheat viewers. Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to get me to buy viewers, which, I mean, whatever. Like, buying viewers is kind of a waste of time. That's Jane's. Oh, I got the wrong email. We need Jane's email. Let's go back over here. These get kicked and banned plus reported. I mean, feel free to report them. I just don't. I'm not on Twitch, and I am streaming on Twitch, but like I'm not like I don't have access to the Twitch dashboard. But feel free to report them. I mean, I just don't think they're that annoying for me to stop the stream and try to ban them and all that. Also, Agent 57, thanks for stopping in. How you doing today? Thanks for watching. Look at that, dude. I can't believe they added more levels. I remember I reached max level and then like I thought I was done with TryHackMe. That's actually why I stopped TryHackMe for a long time, because I reached max level. I'm like, oh, max level. But they added more levels, so I can still level up. What is the name of the vulnerable eloquent method that is used in this task? Is it where raw? Yes! What is the flag value after submitting the payload in the secure input field? That is very easy to do. All we have to do is hit search on the secure field and we should get a flag. Look at that. That was really easy. Nice. Yeah, I tried for Hacker of the Month and got done by a guy with 0 days. I am sure. He got like 1,000 points in a day. That's crazy. I don't see the point in trying to get Hacker of the Month on TryHackMe, because you get points based off of things that you do, right? You complete tasks, you answer questions, you get points. But the thing is, it's not a competition, because like you can just look up the answers. Like you can go find a YouTube video or a blog or a GitHub repo that has the answers, and you can literally just copy and paste and just get a bunch of points like really fast. But you don't learn anything. You know what I mean? Like you don't learn anything if you do that. So that's why I don't really respect the Hacker of the Month. Like it's a cool concept, but like you can't. I don't think it's not a real competition. A real competition would be more like a CTF where nobody knows the solution and you're actually battling for flags. Yeah, you got a job though, and I was building a profile. What do you mean by that? I get that, but I was not using walkthroughs. Right, what I'm saying is like, don't feel bad, because like the people that beat you was probably just like using walkthroughs. And there's nothing wrong with walkthroughs, but I'm saying like people are literally just copying and pasting answer after answer after answer after answer without reading anything and just getting a bunch of points. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know how it works, but I feel like that's how it works. But I mean, if you want to get Hacker of the Month, by all means, go for it. But what I will say is this. Don't expect an employer to respect your Hacker of the Month if you do happen to get it. Employers, hiring managers, and recruiters, they don't really care about your TryHackMe rank. They don't care about your Hack the Box rank or your scores. Unfortunately. What's up, Prizo? Killama? Killama? I think that. Bro, what are you doing now? I'm doing ORM injection room here on TryHackMe. We're almost done. We've completed 5 tasks. We're on task 6, and there's a few more tasks after this. But best practices probably isn't. It's probably just a reading thing. What's up, Cyber Gilly? Thanks for stopping in. How you doing today? What's up, dude? You miss Alaska? I do not miss Alaska. I do miss some things about Alaska, and I would say the thing that I miss about Alaska is the nice, cool summers where they're like 70 degrees and the whole summer, and that's really nice. And I like the 24/7 daylight. Love the 24/7 daylight because the darkness definitely affects my mood, and I wish it didn't, but it does. Sunlight makes me. It literally energizes you. So that's the only thing I miss about Alaska was the summers that are, you know, in the 70 degrees. It never reaches 80s, and if it does, it's like that's a really hot day. And then the 24/7 daylight in the summertime. I do not miss the winters. I do not miss the cost of living, and that's why I left. The cost of living was the reason why I left Alaska. That's why I didn't stay there. Would you come back for B-Sides Alaska? If I was there, still I would go to B-Sides Alaska for sure. And speaking of Alaska, that's actually one of my goals in life is to actually have a summer house in Alaska, because I actually like the summer in Alaska that much that like if I can get to the point where I can afford a second house, then that's what I would do. I would buy a second summer house in Alaska to get out of the heat of the lower 48, man. That's a plan of mine, and that's what I want to do. But we're very far away from that. I need a few more $1 million for that to happen. Far away. Can I be your student ethical hacker? Well, I don't have any courses. I don't do any mentorships. I just make as much content as I possibly can to help as many people as I can. I don't really do a whole lot of one-on-one coaching. And the reason why I don't do one-on-one coaching is a couple reasons. But the main reason why, I just don't got time, unfortunately. I am a practitioner. I'm not a coach. I'm not a mentor. I mean, I can mentor you. Like right now, I can talk to you and answer your questions. But I don't make an income off of this. I don't make money off of this. This isn't my full-time job, is to coach people and mentor people. I literally just take what I know and give it back to the community for free. And you know, my income comes from working in the field as a pen tester, and that eats up obviously 40 hours a week out of my time. And then I gotta put in some time to make content, which is a lot of time to make content, and then I have to use whatever I have left over to upskill and grow my skills. I can look at dry cabins for you. Don't even worry about it, bro. I am multiple years away before I even pay off the house I'm living in now, bro. Like, I'm far away. Unless it's a far goal, man. We're talking like retirement ages when I'll have my, well, hopefully not. I mean, earlier would be better, obviously, but it ain't gonna happen in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't think. Alright, let's go ahead and resume task number 6 here. But Alaska, dude, I've been around the world. Most beautiful place on the planet, in my opinion. Granted, I've never been to South America, and I've never been to Africa, and I've never been to Australia, and I've never been to Antarctica. That's quite a few continents there, but I have been all over Europe. I have been in multiple Asian countries. Obviously, I've been all over North America. Alaska is top tier as far as like nature-wise and most impressive nature you'll see. While secure coding practices are essential, it is also important to recognize how a developer might inadvertently implement a vulnerable version of an ORM. For exploitation, vulnerable implementation can occur when developers use outdated or misconfigured ORM libraries that contain inherent security flaws. These flaws can be exploited by attackers to manipulate database queries and gain unauthorized access or control. Such vulnerabilities may stem from issues like improper handling of query parameters or inadequate protection against injection attacks within the ORM framework itself. Developers must ensure that they are using up-to-date and secure versions of ORM libraries to avoid introducing exploitable vulnerabilities into their applications. Practical example. One such example is the Larval Query Builder package, which had a significant security vulnerability in versions prior to 1.17.1. This vulnerability allows SQL injection through unsanitized query parameters. The vulnerability was identified in how the package handled sorting parameters directly from user input without proper validation. We have used the Spatty Query Builder, that's a weird word, Spatty, in this example, which also uses the Larval Query Builder internally to make queries. To demonstrate this vulnerability, you can access the machine at the website. This endpoint allows getting the top user sorted by the name column via the sort parameter. The Larval equivalent translation of the query is selects everything from users order by name, ascend limit 2, I think that means ascend, ASC limit 2. Injection attempt. If we try injecting the name parameter with name, we will see the app returns an error that it couldn't find the column name. As you can see here, could not find the column name. Our objective here is to manipulate the query to retrieve the complete data from the user's table instead of being restricted to the limited number of rows. However, injecting the sort parameter in this context is not straightforward by merely concatenating it with the select query and using the routine injection methods. The challenge lies in effectively breaking out of the order by clause. Whoa! Machine expiring soon. Came out of nowhere. It's got 15 minutes left. Let's add an hour. Cool, bro. Where was I at? The challenge itself lies effectively breaking out of the order by clause to manipulate the query execution. To achieve this, we can utilize a special function, the, I don't even know how to say this, operator, which serves as the alias for the JSON extract function in MySQL. This operator allows us to navigate JSON data and extract specific values by the, what is this thing called? It's just a hyphen arrow operator in conjunction with the %27 payload. We can break out of the order by clause. The %27 payload effectively terminates the JSON extraction, bypasses the limitations imposed by the initial query, and allows us to append additional SQL commands. Final payload. We will prepare the final payload like this. Initial query. The initial query that Laravel translates for sorting users by name is select everything from users order by name. ASC limit 2. So I think I'm gonna need to copy that and probably put it in the next query. Breaking the query by injecting the name this. We can cause the query to break and thus create an opportunity to insert our own SQL. Crafting the query. To exploit this vulnerability, we craft the payload to break out of the string and inject our SQL. The payload would be something like this. Within a parameter name, and the arrow is parsed by Laravel and replaced with JSON MySQL function. On the other hand, %27 closes the previous string and condition. SQL injection query allows an attacker to write its own query. The character pound or hashtag, these as the kids call it these days, comments out the rest of the query to prevent syntax errors. Final result: the payload for getting additional rows from the database would look like this, while the query generated by the Laravel in the MySQL database would be select everything from users order by JSON unquote JSON extract name limit 10 ASC limit 2, including the injected payload. The above query would bypass the limit capability and fetch 10 rows from the table. The above example highlights the critical importance of the input validation and sanitation of preventing ORM injection vulnerabilities by understanding how seemingly harmless data query parameters can be exploited. Developers can better appreciate the need for secure coding practices. Using ORM features without a proper grasp of their implementations can inadvertently expose applications to serious security risks. Alright, what is the total number of rows in the user table? So all we have to do is just copy this link. Come back over to our highlight link. I don't know, I haven't done this yet. I'm just taking a guess here. See if that works. Look at that. So there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows? I guess. But look, we got some passwords. So I'm guessing 5 rows here because we got 5 here. Nice. What is the password for the email, John? The password for John. There it is. THM 101. Nice. I got an internship interview for a cybersecurity engineer on Thursday. Have you got any tips for me? Have an AI draft me up some mock interviews and say I do well. I will be wearing a suit and looking smart, going for a walk before 2. Nice. Yeah, you definitely want to dress sharp and look your best. For tips, man, I would say know that company very well. Like, go read the mission statement of the company and understand it very well. If you really want the job, understand that company. Like, go on the website, see what they offer for services. Like, understand the company's mission statement and values and their goals, and align their goals, mission statement, and values to your goals, mission statement, and values. Like your personal goals, mission statement, and values. If you can align those two, and when you speak, talk about that a lot. And then when they say tell me about yourself, like, don't get personal. It is business at the end of the day. So explain to them, you know, why you're looking for the role, why you're leaving your other role, because they're going to want to know that. And explain to them how your skill set matches the role, and explain how you can solve their problem. but don't get into like your hobbies, and don't get into like, if it's not related to the job, then I wouldn't talk about it unless the interviewer brings it up. It's a second interview and it's a technical, non-hands-on. Oh, okay. Well, that changes it then. If you got the first interview done, so you've already done all that, so that's good. So for the technical interview, you want to, like, don't sweat it, bro. Like, if you don't know the answer, just explain as much as you know about that topic, and then say it. So, like, if they ask a question, say what you know about it at a high level. Like, don't get super technical and don't get super detailed right off the front. And you really want to answer the question in like a minute. And then at the end of it, you want to say, is that enough explanation, or do you want me to go deeper? And that will give them the opportunity. If they're looking for you to go deeper, they'll say, go ahead and go deeper. Or if they're like, nope, that's good enough, you know more than enough, then they'll move on to the next question. So I would say start at a high level with whatever question I ask you, and be very brief with it. And then at the end of it, just say, hey, do you want me to go deeper, or is that good enough? Or I can explain more if you like. Something along those lines. And that's what you need to do in technical interviews. And if they ask you to go deeper, then go deeper. If they want to move on to the next question, then move on to the next question. And then they're going to progressively get harder, okay? So you will get questions towards the end of that interview that you're not going to know the answer to. And the reason why you're not going to get, because they want to understand where your current knowledge and skill set lies. So they're going to get progressively harder over time. And they are trying to get to the point to where, like, you don't know something. And that's okay. Like, every technical interview that I have passed, there was like a quarter of the questions I didn't even know at the end, because they get harder and harder. And that's okay. Like, just because you're not going to, like, you're going to feel like you're getting your butt kicked towards the end of those interviews, but that doesn't mean you're bad. As long as you know something about the topic and you know you can go deeper, that's okay. Yeah, never lie either. Like, don't BS your way through it. Hopefully that helps. It will be up to the director. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was what my technical interviews are with. But yeah, I mean, I definitely got my butt handed to me in some technical interviews, and then I got passed on to the third interview anyways, and then I got job offers. So you don't need to know every answer in a technical interview, and they're gonna get harder, and that's normal. As long as if you're fumbling the easy questions, then that's a bad sign. But if you're getting to, like, you know, let's say it's an hour interview, or let's say it's a half-hour interview, and you get through it 15-20 minutes and you're knocking it out apart, and those last 5-10 minutes, like, you're struggling a little bit, that's pretty normal, I would say. Best practices. Now we understand the threat service of ORM injection. Preventing these vulnerabilities require implementing robust security measures and continuing monitoring potential weaknesses. You know, I'm thinking about something funny. One of my technical interviews, actually for the job that I currently work in, he's like, "Do you know what CVE stands for?" And I was like, "CDE." I'm like, "No, I don't know what CDE stands for." He said common vulnerabilities and exposures. I was like, "Oh, you said CVE. I thought you said CDE." I'm like, "Yeah, I know what CVE stands for." That was a little funny. It's a funny thing. Because I thought he said CD as in Delta. I'm like, I don't know what CD. I mean, CDE is like cardholder data environment or something like that for PCI DSS. I was like, bro, that was funny. That happened to me on my current job, so it's okay. Like you're probably gonna fumble a couple questions. I didn't fumble a question. I just didn't understand what he was asking. I just thought he said D instead of V. The following sections outline best practices for securing user inputs and leveraging automation techniques to effectively identify and mitigate injection vulnerabilities. Heavy was a close call then. Few important practices. Input validation. Always validate user inputs on both client and server sides. Ensure that the data conforms to the expected format, type, and length. Use regular expression and built-in validation functions to enforce strong input validation rules. Parameterized queries. Use parameterized queries. Oh, here we go. Parameterized queries again. Prepared statements to interact with the database. This approach ensures that user inputs are treated as data, not executable code. Avoid concatenating user inputs directly into SQL queries. ORM usage. Utilize ORM built-in tools to interact with the database. ORM abstracts SQL queries to help prevent SQL injection by handling user input securely. Ensure that the ORM is configured correctly and any custom SQL queries are parameterized. Escaping sanitization. Escape user inputs to remove any special characters used in injection attacks. Sanitize inputs to remove potentially harmful data before processing or storing it. Allow list input. Implement an allow list approach for input validation. Only allow specific expected values and reject everything else. This model is more secure than blacklisting known bad values, which can be incomplete. Application and popular frameworks. We'll explore essential practices for safeguarding ORM injection and widely used ORM frameworks. ORM tools like Doctrine, PHP, SQL Alchemy, Python, Hibernate, Java, and Entity Framework.net provides useful abstractions for database interactions. However, to prevent SQL injection vulnerabilities, it's crucial to employ secure coding practices such as parameterized queries, name parameters, and ORM specific techniques. Let's dive into the best practices with practical examples for each framework. Doctrine, PHP. Use prepared statements with parameterized queries to prevent SQL injection attacks. Like that. SQL Alchemy. Leverage SQL Alchemy's ORM and core API to use parameterized queries which automatically handle escape parameter building. Let me guess. Hibernate Java is going to be parameterized queries. Use name parameters with Hibernate Queries API to ensure inputs are adequately bound and escaped. Entity Framework.net. Employ parameterized queries to Entity Framework to secure database interactions and mitigate the risk of SQL injection vulnerabilities. These practices underscore the importance of adopting secure coding practices tailored for each ORM framework, ensuring robust protection against ORM injection vulnerabilities and parameterized queries. They said parameterized queries probably 100 times in this room, which that just shows you how important it is. So that's the key takeaway here. Anything with SQL or ORM, parameterized queries, or AKA prepared statements. Is it a good idea? Sorry, is it good practice to write raw SQL queries in ORM? Yeah or nay? I'm gonna go nay. Which side should input validation be carried out? Write the correct option only. I'm gonna go C, both server and client. Perfect. Conclusion. Throughout our exploration of ORM injection, we began by establishing a solid understanding of what ORM entails and its fundamental role in modern web development. We explored its workings, understanding how ORMs abstract database interactions into object-oriented paradigms, enhancing developer productivity and code maintainability. Moving forward, we shifted focus to the perspective of a penetration tester, learning how to identify potential injection vulnerabilities, specifically within Laravel, a widely used PHP framework. With this foundational knowledge, we examined the exploitation of poorly implemented ORM systems. We uncovered how vulnerabilities in ORM configurations can lead to injection attacks, allowing malicious users to manipulate database queries and potentially gain unauthorized access to sensitive information. To conclude, we highlighted essential security practices within popular frameworks. These practices include rigorous input validation, proper use of parameterized queries or prepared statements to mitigate injection risk, and leveraging ORM frameworks with built-in security features. By adopting these practices, developers can safeguard their applications against ORM injection vulnerabilities, ensuring a well-protected and secure web application. Let us know your thoughts on this room on our Discord server or X account. See you around. I have successfully completed the room. We have. Gosh, I feel like a dang champion, bro. I'm out here winning, bro. Leveling up every day. It's so satisfying. This is way better than the old TryHackMe. TryHackMe didn't have all the sound effects. The sound effects, man, in my opinion, huge deal. Made TryHackMe such a better platform for no reason. Like, it just makes me feel like I'm accomplishing stuff because like the sound effects. Love it. And if you do this room, and anybody who does TryHackMe, like, you should be going, you should just like hit LinkedIn and like share this room. But I'm streaming on LinkedIn, so I'm not gonna do that because I'm already streaming on LinkedIn right now. Literally, I don't have to make a post about it because I just stream myself doing it, so I'm not going to do that. But and if you can stream it yourself too, but at the bare minimum, when you complete these rooms, highly recommend just sharing it on LinkedIn. So the next room, this is actually a challenge room. Learn to perform a security assessment of web applications. Oh, that's just so the next one is Injectics. Let's go to the next room. Injectics. Use your injection skills to take control of a web app. So yeah, this is a challenge here, not a walkthrough. So I will be doing this. Will it be next week? Yeah, it'll be next week. So same time next week, I'll be doing this one. This is not a walkthrough. This is a challenge. So this might take me some time. But that's the stream, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I will take any final questions from anybody in the chat. Let's pull the chat up. If you have any final questions, feel free to ask them. I will stick around here for a couple minutes only because I have to log off here very soon. But that was pretty fun. I didn't really know about ORM injection. It was a pretty easy room. This one took a while. How long were we streaming for? An hour 59. This is one of my favorite songs from Carl Casey. I don't know if you guys can hear. I want to turn it up a little bit. Any advice for studying for taking the Network Plus? Thanks, Kaiser. Yeah, man. What I would recommend you do is go watch my Security Plus video, how to pass Security Plus, and watch my Security X video. Those tips in those two CompTIA exams is going to absolutely apply to Network Plus. So that's it. The formula for any CompTIA exam is very straightforward. It's go get a video course. I like to use CBT Nuggets, or it used to be called IT Pro TV, but it's now ACI Learning. Get a video course. It doesn't have to be those two, but those are the two that I've historically used for CompTIA. And then after you watch the full video course, like literally every single video, Then you want to read a exam guide cover to cover. Go to Amazon, buy an exam guide has good reviews, and it's been highly reviewed. By highly reviewed, I mean it has a lot of reviews. I like the Sybex books. That's pronounced Sybex. Read those cover to cover. Also, I have a video how to learn networking, so also watch that video too. But after you read a book cover to cover, at that point you want to get a practice exam book. They also sell this on Amazon as well, and do as many practice questions as you can. You want to do at least 1,000, and then get your hand on some flashcards if you can, and memorize as many flashcards as you possibly can. And then what else do you want to do? That's pretty much it. Video course, study guide book, flashcards, and practice tests. And if you're getting 75% or higher on multiple practice tests, you're ready for the exam. That's my tips. And then also watch my how to study video. That's another video I did too. It's more of a mentality thing, but basically, like, make a schedule, study schedule, and stick to it, and don't break it for anything. Obviously break it for emergencies, but like, don't break it because you don't feel like it. Don't break it. Don't break your study schedule up because your friend asked you to hang out. Don't break your study schedule because a football game came on. Don't break your study schedule because you feel like playing a video game. All right, that's the stuff you don't want to break it for. Just stick to the study schedule and do it every day for multiple hours a day. Obviously, if an emergency comes up, family emergency or whatever, like, go handle that. But don't break it up. Don't break the study schedule up for things that doesn't really matter. Like, your friends aren't going to hate you for staying home and studying and leveling up your life. And if they do, then they're not your friends. That's the way I look at it. That's my tips. Definitely watch those videos, especially how to study video. The Network Plus versus CCNA video is a good one. How to pass Security Plus. I know it's Security Plus, but those same tips apply to Network Plus. And then my Security X video, which just released this Friday. If you're watching live, I have study tips on that too. Same method applies. Good luck and have fun, and let me know how it turns out for you. All right, guys, I gotta get going. Peace out. Take care. Have a good one. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the support. I will catch you on the next stream next week, same time next week. Dude, we got 100 messages right at the end. Look at that. You guys are awesome. All right. A lot more content coming out, by the way. I'm a content fanatic now, bro. I got a podcast dropping in tomorrow morning, and there's tons of content lined up. And shameless plug here, but if you're a member to my YouTube channel, you get the content early, but there is no exclusive content. Everyone gets the content right now, so you don't have to pay for the content. But if you're a member, you do get to watch it a little early because I do schedule it out. All right, guys, peace out.